Have you ever walked into a stately home, filled with elegant furnishings, and then you noticed how bad the floor looked? Wood floors get damaged from wear and tear but also develop cracks or gaps. If the gaps, high heel marks, chips, nail holes, or knot holes, are significant, the floor may require a professional repair job. But, if they are minor, you can use wood floor filler. Hi, I'm Sandy, from Easiklip Floors. In this video, we'll discover the top products and methods used by flooring professionals to conceal cracks and other damage that can happen to wood floors. Firstly, let's look at whether or not you can use wood filler on wood floors. Unless the gap is seasonal and will close eventually, you can use wood filler to repair narrow gaps and cracks. Fillers can be water or solvent-based. There are two functions of wood floor fillers. First, to fill small imperfections such as nail holes, dents, and small chips. And second, to fill in and smooth out the pores in open-grained wood, such as oak or mahogany. The wood filler for holes will be a thick paste, whereas pore fillers have a batter-like consistency that spreads and fills tiny pores. When talking about wood fillers, it's important to note that there is a difference between wood filler and wood putty. Here are the most significant differences between these two products. Wood filler is water-based. It dries hard. It is best for unfinished wood. And it is for indoor applications. Wood putty is oil or solvent-based. It stays pliable. It is suitable for finished wood, and it is for outdoor and indoor applications. These are generalities, and there are exceptions. But when it comes to fixing wood floors, the question is, which is better? Wood filler or wood putty? Painters use wood putty to fill nail holes that will be painted or stained. It's not a good choice if you don't plan to paint or seal it because it dries very slowly. Putty will pick up dirt and become discolored compared to the wood around it. Wood fillers typically won't shrink, and they dry hard. They are a better choice for surface repairs, while the flexibility of putty is better for gaps where it can expand and contract with the wood. Okay, so what is the best wood filler for hardwood floors? We've compared reviews from contractor websites and found 5 of the most popular brands that the pros use. First, we have Timbermate. Flooring experts like this pre-mixed filler because it shrinks less than any other wood floor filler. It is a better choice for filling large areas. It also accepts the color of stain, rubio, and polyurethane very well. It doesn't have a chemical binder in it, so it quickly reconstitutes when mixed with water, even when dry. It comes in red oak, white oak, maple, and ebony. However, Timbermate mixes with oil or latex tints, dyes, and stains, accurately reproducing any wood color. When matching colors, they recommend that you add color to the putty and match it while it's wet. The product dries lighter and returns to its original color when coated with a clear finish. To see how to work with Timbermate, visit the link in the description for video demonstrations. Next, we have Glista Wood Flour Cement. You mix this resin with the fine sanding dust, retained from sanding the floor. The advantage of this product is it creates wood filler that exactly matches the floor. Use sanding dust, also known as wood flour, of 80 grit or finer. Glista Wood Flour Cement has 2 significant advantages. First, the epoxy itself lasts a lifetime. Secondly, there is no waste. You can mix just the amount you need for each job. Another advantage is that you can mix up a different color for spot filling, using a different dust shade. Sometimes, maple sanding dust looks better on a light spot, in an oak board, for example. Unfortunately, Glista is only available by the gallon, and due to its toxic nature, cannot be shipped via parcel services. Third, let's take a look at Minwax Stainable Wood Filler. Minwax Stainable Wood Filler works well to repair cracks, small gouges, nail holes, knot holes, and other wood defects. It works best on unfinished wood, both indoors and outdoors. Squeeze a liberal amount from the tube, and work it in with a clean putty knife. Once dried and sanded, it accepts either oil-based or water-based wood stains. The drying time varies between 2 to 6 hours. Fourth, we have Elmer's E914 Carpenter's Color Change Wood Filler. Elmer's calls their wood filler for hardwood floors color changing because it turns pink only when it's completely dry. That's a bonus for DIYers, so they know when to sand, paint, or stain. Elmer's is one of the best fillers for larger holes because it won't shrink or crack. It's also water-based, for easy cleanup, and it's non-toxic. Fifth, we'll look at Draghtex floorboard gap filler. If you are restoring an old home with wide plank flooring, there may be large gaps between boards. A liquid filler may not be strong enough to fill the gaps and maintain the height. The answer is a flexible gap filler that you stuff into the gap to fill it. Draghtex comes in 10 or 40 meter rolls and 3 thicknesses. The thin product fills gaps less than 3 millimeters. The standard size fills 2 to 7 millimeters. And the thick fills 6 to 11 millimeters. Again, click the link in the video description for a video demonstration using Draghtex. Lastly, we'll explore wood plugs. We need to mention this technique for filling round holes like screw heads. You can make real wood plugs that glue into a hole. After staining or painting, the holes are virtually invisible. They can also match the grain of the original wood, where putty or fillers cannot. There is an excellent video teaching this technique that we have linked to in the video description. Alright. Now that we know about wood fillers, let's look at how to fill gaps in hardwood floors. For small gaps between a few boards, just use your finger to press a color-matching putty into the gap to fill it. For a room full of gaps, such as with parquet floors, you'll need to use a larger quantity of liquid filler. The best solution is to mix your own filler, using fine sanding dust from the floor, 80 to 100 grit. You'll work it into the gaps, using a large trowel. It creates a wood floor filler, in the same shade as the rest of the boards. Check out the link in the video description for a demonstration. But what about wide gaps? For permanent wide gaps, you'll need to fill them with wood dowels, shims, or manila rope. Filling gaps with rope is an old-time method that you might find in a farmhouse or restored barn floor. It's a straightforward repair. First, scrape any loose material and vacuum it out of the cracks. Second, stuff in a length of rope, using a putty knife to wedge it in. Last, depending on the floor and location, you can leave the rope as is, or cover it with wood putty. If you don't plan to cover the rope, dip it in a matching stain first, and allow it to dry before installing it. Fill the gaps when the weather is the most humid, as the gap should be at its smallest. This ensures that your floor won't push the filler out when it expands. To recap, here are the products you can use as a wood filler for hardwood floors. For narrow gaps, use wood putty or filler. For wide gaps, use rope or wood shims. For large areas, use DIY wood filler made with sanding dust from the same floor. You can use the DIY filler to fill most gaps, provided you have enough sanding dust from the same wood. Nothing matches the wood like a filler made with the same sanding dust. There's a link to a video demonstration in the description below. Okay. Now that we've covered how to fill gaps, let's look at how you fill gouges in hardwood floors. Here is the 5-step method to filling a gouge or gap using wood filler. Step 1. Choose or mix the color of wood filler that matches the wood around the gouge. Step 2. Put a dab of filler on your finger and work it into the gouge. Step 3. Use a flexible putty knife to scrape off the excess. Don't press too hard, or you will remove the material from the gouge. Allow it to dry. Step 4. Use fine sandpaper, 180 to 220 grit, and sand very lightly around the repair to remove any excess material. Step 5. Use a damp towel to wipe any filler from around the repair. Try not to moisten the filler in the gouge, or it will reactivate and become soft. This technique works best if you can seal the repair with a finish. We've got a link to a video demonstration in the video description below. If you have a deep gouge, you'll need to add layers of filler, allowing each level to dry thoroughly before adding another. Otherwise, it will shrink and crack. Next, we'll look at how to fix separation issues in hardwood floors. If the floor has a seasonal gap that shrinks open in the winter and swells closed in the summer, there is not much you can do other than to add humidity by way of a humidifier during the dry heating months. Wood putty or wood filler can work, provided the gaps are not seasonal. For large gaps in floors that are old and dry, you'll need to use a more substantial filler, like wood doweling or rope-type gap fillers. Filling wide gaps with putty only can be problematic, as it will likely get squeezed out when the wood slowly expands, as it absorbs humidity. Commercial wood putty hardens in about 6 hours, although it's best to leave it overnight before adding more filler or refinishing it. The same goes for the DIY wood filler mentioned above. It's best to let the epoxy cure overnight before sanding and finishing. So there you have it. Now you know about some of the best wood fillers available, and you know how to use them to fill gaps, gouges, and to fix separation issues in your hardwood floor. Hopefully this information has helped you make an informed decision for fixing your floor issues, but if repairing your floor is just too overwhelming, we've got another solution. Look to Easiklip. Our 3/4 inch, solid white oak floors are the easiest to install of any flooring brand. They clip together with no glue, nails, or screws required. It's the easiest solution for DIYers. Just visit easiklip.com to check out all our beautiful flooring. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.